Hi, welcome everyone and welcome to the first in our series on business talks for those in professional services. In this series we'll be covering lots of a wide range of topics that help you out, whether you're an engineer, architect, lawyer, whatever professional service you're in. We'll talk about those business issues that are affecting you at the moment. But of course we'll do a lot more than that. We will of course delve into the business development, marketing and sales angles. After all, this is brought to you by the BD Ladder and that's what we do. And sometimes we'll focus on one specific area of professional services, and today we're going to start with engineering, which is a great sector, and we're going to look deeply into that one. And in particular, we'll look around the areas of recruitment, retention, all those good stuff. And I'm joined here today with Simone Storey from MojoFit, and I'm really excited to have this conversation with Simone. So just as we get started, tell us a bit about your background and why you founded MojoFit.
Oh, hi Ben, and thanks for having me here today. I am a specialist engineering recruiter. I work in the agency side with consultancies in New Zealand, and I've been in recruitment about 5 years, and I started MojoFit just a little over a year ago.
Cool, so you'd be one of those lovely lockdown businesses like our own.
I am a lockdown business, yes.
So how did you find starting that market?
Because I had a bit of experience prior working in the engineering sector, I was used to it. However, the market was constantly changing, and it's still changing now. I had to think on my feet, act a little bit differently. I set up the consultancy specifically because I wanted a lifestyle change and also to be less of an agency and more of a personalised, personal approach with my clients.
Awesome, fantastic. Awesome, fabulous introduction there, Simone. I'm just curious, as a business working in the engineering sector, what are your kind of top 3 tips for marketing and doing business development in this sector?
For me, it's people, culture and projects. Those are the top 3 things you need to focus on. With people, they like to work, businesses like to work with like-minded people, share the same kind of values and culture.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, your projects, they want to know about your projects, like why you were engaged on that project, what were the top aspects of the project that were important to the business, and how successful they were on those projects. So it's really about showcasing those things and be proud, be proud to talk about them and engage with people. They're important aspects of your business.
So now we've warmed you up with some opening questions. We'll get into something a little bit more deep and a bit more grunty here. So,
Sure.
Sort of speaking more broadly, and there's been a lot going on in the world, what do you see as the major issues and or even opportunities that are going to be affecting the engineering sector in, say, the next 2 or 3 years?
Okay. I feel inflation, unfortunately, is going to become a factor.
Yeah.
And that's with regard to tendering and the completion and duration of projects. This is going to be a form of stress on businesses. So that's something that, the market will become an ever-evolving thing. Also with regard to the lack of skilled engineers in the country. Yes, the borders are open now and visa restrictions have been eased with regards to especially engineering sector. However, there's been a delay. A 2 year of closed borders has that sort of on-flow effect, and we could see another year to 2 years before we actually get a more of a consistent flow of engineers coming into the country.
Awesome, and with that I'm kind of curious, because obviously the lack of people coming in, are we seeing more people going out? Is the Great Resignation starting to bite in the sector?
I feel that the delay in being able to reach out to the wider world has that delayed OE experience for especially the younger ones. I know myself, I was 23, went on my OE, it was something I was very hungry for. And if you've got that drive and that motivation to want to either better yourself or see what the rest of the world has to offer, you're going to want to do that regardless of whether you're in a good employment situation or not.
So these factors are kind of a nice all coming together, meaning that actually the battle for the talent pool is going to be fiercer than ever?
Definitely, yeah, definitely. Offshore market, it's happening, however, it's a bit slower. And I think because it's unfortunate for New Zealand, the rest of the world opened up a lot quicker than we did. However, being at the bottom of the world, that's what happens, right?
So if you're a firm and you're looking to recruit and you've got some of these big projects coming down the pipeline, or even existence have got held up by the last couple of years, we'll try not to delve too much into those. How do you stand out? How do you attract that talent? How do you get them into your firm?
It's all about showcasing what you have to offer and being proud of that. You've got to engage with your people too. It's so easy to sit back and focus on the work, but not focus on the people and how you can retain them and keep them within your business. That's how you attract people to come to your business, because the engineers will talk. They'll say, hey, look, I'm doing some great work here, working with some great teams, great managers, so people become attracted that way to your business.
That's really, really interesting. So outside of that, obviously there's an OE and it's been stagnated. Are there any other reasons behind this brain drain at the moment?
I get a feeling that some of what I call the young gun engineers are ready to progress now. They get a little bit itchy and they want to source out those larger projects, more complex projects, and that's often happening offshore. So they'll go ahead and do that, and the advantage of doing that is they can get paid more.
Yep.
They get expedited with regards to their progression, and also they can travel.
Cool.
Come back with more money and buy a house.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
Particularly in Auckland. One thing that's always interesting, I've noticed in other sectors within professional services firms, people aren't just leaving to get another legal job or another engineering job. They're actually completely leaving the profession. Is that something that we're starting to see happen now? Sort of the strains of the last 2 years causing people to want to go off and start a yoga studio or whatever it might be?
No, I'm not seeing that. So engineers are 99.9% passionate about what they do, and they want to continue, and they'll just continue sourcing how they can progress their career.
Awesome. Another trend I'm seeing, particularly, I'm going to reference the legal sector here, but there's a rise of the boutiques. The big firms are doing really, really well. They're still crushing it and doing the big projects. Those in the middle, because we're getting into a recession, struggling a little bit. Some are doing well, some not so well. But there's been a rise of these boutiques, specialist ones coming out. People who want to start their own firm are doing really, really well and sort of gathering that ground. Is that something that's also happening in the engineering sector?
Yes, a little bit. I am seeing some what I'd call engineers for late 20s, early 30s. A few have banded together and have set up their own engineering consultancies. They probably feel that, together as a force, they can, with their experience and their connections, are able to cement something in the market.
Also, it's always an exciting time when new players emerge and there's new challenges, new opportunities for people to get in there.
There's enough for everybody. That's what I always say.
Awesome. So if you're crazy like me, you would think this turbulent time is just full of opportunity and exciting, but actually it creates a little bit of tension. It makes it difficult, particularly for some of the larger consultancy firms out there and the mid-tier firms. So what can employers do to help retain their talent?
Engage and listen to what your engineers are saying to you. I always say it starts at the interview stage. So you need to ask questions and find out what actually motivates them. I mean, everybody's going to be different, and you should never make assumptions. Always engage and listen, and do it regularly, not periodically. Don't just wait for your performance review. It has to be done on a regular basis, and do it genuinely.
Okay, so there's one sort of thorny topic which is prevalent in every sector, but particularly so in industry. The whole kind of last year's seen a rise in working from home. Now the offices are opening. desire to get back in the offices. Now there's obviously two sides to this. On big projects with engineers coming together, collaboration formally and informally is that way to drive projects. But of course the flexibility of working from home is highly desirable for a lot of people. So
It is.
what should engineering firms do? How do they tackle this for their people and for them to be good at their projects?
This is a tough one for employers. I actually really feel for them.
Yeah.
However, in saying that, COVID lockdown has given employees a taste of flexibility. Although in saying that, New Zealand has been pretty good with regards to flexibility. There was a bit of that prior, but however, it was on a case-by-case basis. Now it's almost part of your employment agreement that you have days that you work from home, whether that be 2 days, 3 days, or whatever the case may be. However, I think 100% of the time working from home doesn't work. You lose that continuity of, getting to know people, building your culture within your company, or retaining the culture. Yes, you can have Zooms and meetings and things like that, which is great, and you must continue that. However, when people are back in the office, you need to engage with them. You need to engage with them more than now than ever. Otherwise, you're going to lose that connection.
One thing that I've always been curious about is, in the early stages of your career, probably in the office a bit more, but some people may choose not to be in the office more, and whatever stage it is, and the work gets given out. Now invariably there's a split for those who are in the office and those that aren't, because people unfortunately look at what's in front of them and tend to hand the work that way. So how can firms bridge that gap and actually truly start to manage and integrate people when some are in and some are out of the office?
Oh, it's a careful balance, right? I think you need to set some sort of boundaries and parameters around the working from home piece, especially with regards to projects. I mean, projects are going to have different deadlines, varying meetings with clients and things like that, and you need to be able to connect with your team to be able to be effective on those projects. So yeah, it needs to be more of a case-by-case basis still, I feel, rather than saying, hey, these are the set days you work from home, these are the days that you're in the office.
So looking at individual engineers now, which is easy to say for some people, but looking at those individuals, if they're looking to further their career, whether it be externally with a new firm or even within their own firm, what kind of new skills or attributes do they need to start developing and actually demonstrate using?
I'd definitely say people skills.
Okay.
So that's being able to engage with clients quite easily, mitigate problems, solve problems, be able to be that port of call and trusted engineer. Also, another tip is basically a lot of firms want you to have that ability to do business development and have a network and connections. That shows more of a managerial position. So if you're wanting to progress in that area, you need to pick up those core people skills.
Awesome. So looking at the other side, from the firm side, that employer recruitment, and the brand element and the employer brand, what can firms in the engineering sector do a lot better to market themselves to stand out?
Well, it's really simple, right? Often a lot of engineers go straight to a website. They go straight onto the projects page and the people page, and they want to know who are the people behind the business and what projects do they do. So have those up to date. Showcase, your top engineers and what skills that they bring to the business alongside the projects. They're really vitally important to prospective new employees.
Do you think people should be using video to demonstrate their people and what they do and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, social media is big, right? And you could go onto LinkedIn and showcase your latest project or the engineers that were involved on that project. Don't be scared that that it's too flashy or too if it's done right, it will be good marketing for you.
So we're now going to see the rise of engineers on Instagram and Twitter as they
Maybe.
go out and market themselves to attract new talent?
Maybe. Also, you need to engage with people. People engagement, other engineers talk in the sector, and if they feel that they're engaged with and they're progressing in their careers, they're going to say, wow, come over here. This is a great place to work.
Absolutely. On that kind of engagement point, how important is that first interview, that first interaction with prospective candidate?
Vitally important. I always say it starts at the interview. So when you're interviewing an engineer, find out, be curious about them, find out what drives them, what motivates them. It's really important because often that's what they're looking for.
Finally, for a bit of fun, or what I would deem fun anyway, in the whole kind of world of sales, BD and marketing, you've had to go out and win work for yourself and obviously get those gigs. For those watching, what's the one sort of tip or piece of advice you can give them in the whole kind of being better at sales type stuff?
Just be yourself, and be authentic and honest about what you can provide, because it's the what's in it for me aspect. Everyone wants to know what are they going to get out of engagement with you as opposed to somebody else.
Absolutely fabulous. So that's listen, engage, and always seek to be helpful. Don't sell.
100%.
Absolutely brilliant. Awesome. I've thoroughly enjoyed our chat today, Simone. It's been absolutely amazing. I've learned a lot about the world of recruitment, what's going on in the engineering sector, and I'm sure those watching absolutely will. So, big thank you for you. Thank you for coming along today.
Thank you, Ben, and I hope people get something out of this.
I'm absolutely sure they would, and it's been great running this first session here. Do remember, now you're on our channel, to, as they say, without being cheesy, like and subscribe. There'll be loads more of these chats coming up. We'll be focusing on all the different sectors I mentioned earlier, giving you the best business advice to help you run your professional services firms in the best way you can.